That's your rap name, Delicious.
Delicious, that's what. Yeah.
Delicious. All right. This is Bearly Furcasting, featuring Taebyn and Injured Nerves audio production. So hello, every person, every listener out there in the Podiverse.
The Podiverse, the Pupiverse.
The Podiverse. How are you today, Taebyn?
I am okay. I wag. I just got stuck because I was thinking about the Podiverse thing and Puppyverse. And I was just thinking, since I made some songs recently, I have made some puppy verses. So we are in the Puppyverse.
You have made some Puppiverses. Yes, Puppy verses. I was just checking our email to see if we had any mail. We don't.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, there we go. We have no mail. Nobody loves us. Sooner or later, someone will send us something. By the way, this is our 25th episode.
Wow.
Yes.
That's wow. And we've been going strong. We've
Going
been diligent
strong.
every single week.
Right. We have been diligent making this work. We have 25 episodes under our tail. So let's jump into media. What have you been watching, Taebyn?
Well, I've been still watching Shooter. It's still really good. It's not as so. In the beginning, I was describing it as kind of 24-esque, and it started out that way. It's not as much like it's not as action filled as it. There's still action, but it's not as action filled. So it's not really 24-esque anymore, but it's still really good, and I like the storyline. So I'm still watching that. I started on our next season of The Good Place. And so I started watching that. Only halfway through it. Most recent season is actually turning out is pretty good. I think it's well worth your time if you choose to delve into it at some point. And I haven't read much, but I did read something recently. It's a really nice, actually, piece of history. And I'm not much of a history pup, so I have to look this stuff up. But it's been discovered. It turns out it's been discovered that William Tell and his son belonged to a bowling league, if you can believe it. Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, it's true.
Okay.
But, Swiss historians have not been able to determine the actual name of the league's sponsors. So the unfortunate thing about that is we never get to know for whom the Tells bowled. True fact.
I like that one. Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
And you've got some history. You've got kind of everything going on for you right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my media this week.
That's your media this week. Well, I started watching, or rewatching, I should say, 2 of the Star Trek series. One is Star Trek Enterprise, and then the other is the original series.
Oh, cool.
And boy, it is really... Wow.
I think that's probably the only way you can describe it. I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you've got a lot of world building now. You know that all this stuff was built upon with the newer series. And so you can watch it with that in mind. And so it's kind of interesting to watch those storylines and then watch that. So watch it and then watch Enterprise, which goes back even further in the timeline to pre-Kirk. So then you're looking at the things that happened that made Kirk and his crew be the way they are. And it's like, wow, this all just... And to watch those 2 series at the same time is kind of interesting to watch the juxtaposition.
Yeah, juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition.
Well, and so it reminds me of Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. So, I watch all of Big Bang Theory and then later watched Young Sheldon. And I couldn't help but just as I watch Young Sheldon, think about Big Bang Theory and the present Sheldon at the same time and say, that's where he got that. Oh, okay. And
Right,
also,
yeah.
of course, similar is the newer Star Trek movies these days focus on the old characters, and so it's kind of reminds me of the same thing.
Right, yeah, the reboot. So we're not going to do 5-minute furs for fun because we have a fur that's coming on the show. You may have remembered last week I talked about how the Taurs were creeping me out.
Yeah, right.
And so as I was editing the show, I thought, well, maybe I don't understand enough about the Taurs. And maybe I'm coming across as ignorant.
That's right, because you said they were kind of creeping into the furry world a little bit more or something.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I had chatted with this fur on Telegram, and they, started educating me on it. And so I invited them to be on the show and talk about the Taurs or the Tars. I don't even know how to say it correctly, but I'm hopefully,
I hope you're hopefuling too.
I'm hopefuling along that maybe this fur can educate me
Educating.
on the Tars, tears.
Tears. I have lots of tears
It's
right
like,
now.
and what's really bad is they're going to listen to this and go, "Oh God, he's just a jerk."
I can't believe I agreed to be on that show.
Right? Yeah, it's just that way. So
Well, this is how learning starts.
learning starts from a place of ignorance. The more you know.
And what is this first name?
This first name is Salem Adams Kusanaga. And again, I'll have to check with this fur when they come on the show and ask how they say their name. We're going to jump right into that. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Let's just jump.
Okay, so joining us now is Salem Adams. How do you say that last part of your name?
Kusanaga.
Salem Adams Kusanaga.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
So the reason you're here is because I'm ignorant. We talked last week about Taurs, and you started educating me on Telegram about the different types of Taurs, because I was calling them all, first of all, centaurs, which now I know is wrong from you. You told me that. So what is a tar? And am I saying it correctly? It's tar or tor?
You're saying correctly. It is tar. Tars are basically, what they are is not exactly a species. It's more of a body type. It is a centaur-like body, but most tars that you see are the entire species. Like, for example, I'm a rabbit tar, so that means that instead of like bottom half being a horse, the bottom half's rabbit, the top half is rabbit, all rabbit.
All rabbit.
Yeah, and tars typically have 4 legs, 2 arms, so there's 6 limbs right there.
That's what makes me cringe. I have to say that's what creeps me out is there's extra arms.
Well, not arms in so much as legs in this case.
Yeah.
But those 4 legs, depending on the species, can also be used as arms too.
Okay.
And I have to jump in and just say, I want to introduce myself because we didn't do that. And so my name is Taebyn and I'm a pup. Hi, thank you for being on the show. And my introduction is over. So I'll let you continue with what you were talking about.
All right, Taebyn. And basically there are many different tars. I've seen dragon tars, circle tars, felitars, and there's even a subset of felitars.
Have you seen guitars?
Yes, I have.
Is that a goose tar?
No, I think it's more of a tar that does karate because, karate people wear gis.
Oh, okay.
and they're very musical too, from what I hear. Anyway.
Back to what I was talking about, felitars. There's a subsection of felitars that are called shakats. You may have heard of shakats before. They are essentially felitars. They were created by Bernard Dove, I believe is the name. They created this species that has its own history, its own culture, background, even went down to how they're supposed to look like.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how are they supposed to look like?
They're all female hermaphrodite felitars. They are genetically engineered as well.
So a felitar would be a cat, right?
Yes.
A feline tar. Felitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
One other thing that a lot of people tend to confuse is felitars and shakats, believing that they are the same. They are not. Shakats are very, very specific. whereas Felitars, they can be like male, female.
So they're generic.
Yeah, they're more generic.
And how prevalent are these in the furry community? I mean, honestly, I mean, I've been in the furry community now since 2017, and I really haven't seen any Taurs anywhere until like the last 6 months. So that's why I was kind of saying they kind of cropped up. But you were saying they've been around for a long time.
Yes, I've been furry since 2006,
Okay.
and mind you, they're not very prevalent, but they've been around since even before I even came into the community.
Okay.
Shikats about as long as that, if not longer. In fact, Bernard Dove had the website Shikats Den, and that's where you can actually find all the information about Shikats and their body types, their history, even their social structure, which is completely different.
And is that website still active?
Yes, it is. In fact, there are new stories that are being posted every so often.
So is it just shikats.net or something?
Shikats Den.
So a traditional centaur then is half man, half horse.
Yes.
So the rest of the Taurs are like you're a Rabbit-Tar, and then there's the Felitars. What other kind of Taurs are out there?
Sergaltars, which I'm not sure if Mick's even aware of that. They might be.
So Sergal Tar, can it also be horse top half and Sergal bottom half, which would, I guess, kind of defeat the point, but maybe it could happen?
Well, the only ones I've seen have been completely Sergal.
So they're the cheese top half and a horse bottom half.
Or a Sergal bottom half, but they have six limbs then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've also seen dog Tars.
Ooh.
Even red panda Tars.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Well, Taebyn, if you were a Tar, you'd be able to catch your tail without any problem.
Oh, I know, right?
Well, it depends on how flexible you are, too.
Well, true. Yeah.
True.
So, Salem, how often do you get to cons and things like that?
I go to at least one con a year, and that is actually the local convention, Furlandia. But I do try to go to other conventions, including some science fiction conventions like Oricon. I've also seen a bunch of furries there too, and there are crossovers between science fiction and furry conventions too.
Have I met you? Might have met you because I go to Furlandia.
Yeah, you have met me, Taebyn.
Oh, well, I thought the name looked familiar, and I'm sorry. I meet a lot of furs, and I forget things, and I'm just a pup. My little puppy brain doesn't know things.
It happens.
Do you attend as a Rabbit-Tar or as a quote-unquote normie?
I don't have a fursuit for a tar, so designing one's also kind of a challenge too.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen like maybe, and this is not even in person, I've seen maybe 2 tar suits ever. One using casters, and the other one, I don't know exactly how they managed to do it. But
So if there was like a big explosion in a building that had lots of gooey, icky stuff, people could sue, and then that would be a tar suit.
Wow, he just reaches so far sometimes.
Well, if you're going to catch her tail, you got to reach really far.
I guess. So, Salem, what else can you tell us about Tars? What's really cool about them?
well, for one, let's say that you need to carry a lot of stuff. Saddlebags.
There you go. And you can easily communicate while you're like moving around, like with your luggage carrier.
And on top of that, depending on the tar, because some are able to do it, some aren't. Let's say an anthro needs a lift. There you go.
So you could actually put a saddle on if you wanted to. I don't know that I would put a saddle on you as a Rabbit-Tar because that would be a very
bouncy.
That would be a very bouncy trip.
Believe it or not, they can actually crawl too.
That's true. Yes, they can. Okay, well, thank you for educating us on Tars. I know a lot more. I mean, I know that I had to learn about when I came into the fandom. Sergals were the thing. There was like cheese heads all over the place.
There was so much cheese. There was pepper jack. There was Gouda, and
I think things kind of go in cycles. If I'm if I'm looking at the way things are happening here.
Yeah, when I was first coming into the furry world, I think it was like about a couple of years later, Circles ended up being the thing.
Hmm.
And then moved on to horses, MLP, and that type of thing. And now it kind of starting to repeat itself a little.
Hmm. Okay. Well, thanks again for coming on our show. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you on Telegram later.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Yep.
You bet.
Thanks again for coming on. Talk to you next time. Salem.
Oh, a tar suit. Really? A
What?
tar suit?
I don't know. It just seemed like the right thing. I don't know.
I guess. At least Salem was open to that. I mean, but really?
I could have got myself into some trouble. I
You
realized,
could
but
have. You
I'm
really
just a
could have.
pup. I
Yeah.
just do what a pup does. Don't
Right.
know.
Let's get to our guest today.
Okay.
Our guest today, I'm very excited for this. I know you are super excited for this.
I wag all over. I wag so much I'm almost like propelling myself off the ground.
Wow, a tail propeller.
I've got a tail propeller.
Wow. And our guest today is who? Tell us, everybody.
Our
Tell us,
guest
Taebyn.
today is none other than the Mr. Bucktown Tiger.
Joining us today on the show is Bucktown Tiger. Welcome, Bucktown. How are you tonight?
Hey, Bearly, doing all right. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite. I'm looking forward to this, and yeah, it's great to have a diversion from this whole COVID. Like it's like we're stuck in March, even though we're
We're stuck in March.
Yeah.
What month is it?
I
Yeah,
think it's December. I don't even
somewhere in
know.
there. Yeah.
Christmas.
It's
Christmas
Christmas.
right around the
See,
corner.
it went
Yay.
from March
So-
to Christmas. That's
Jingle
great.
bells, jingle
But
bells.
yeah, but jingle bears, jingle bears. So it's great to hear you again, Bucktown. It's been a while. So yay, hi.
You too, Taebyn. Oh my God, I miss you so much.
Okay, so Taebyn, do you have some questions that you would like to enlighten our listeners with Bucktown Tiger?
I don't know if my questions will be the things enlightening it or Bucktown doing the responding to them, but I do have a bunch of questions. And so, Bucktown, would you like to answer some questions from this pup right here?
What is yes?
That was correct. 200 potpourri for Bucktown.
Woo!
So, how did you come to realize? I think you're a Siberian tiger, right? How did you come to realize you were a tiger?
A Siberian tiger specifically. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many furries have different ways into the fandom. Some are Lion King, some are Watership Down. You've got some Robin Hoods. Mine was
Mhm.
Animorphs, and so I
Oh.
identified with the character Jake from Animorphs, and of course his battle morph was a Siberian tiger.
Oh, cool.
So I would always follow along and pretend I was the tiger going into battle against the Hork-Bajir and the Yerks, and
Mhm.
got Axie Andalite with us, and Tobias, who became a Nothlith. But yeah, and so that's how I got in the fandom. But I didn't know about furry back then. It's
Oh,
like a
really?
teenager. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so by internet at home at the time, little small town, which we call Bucktown. It's not the official name of the town. It's where Bucktown comes from.
Ah.
Anyway, so our home internet was through the school and it was filtered. And so a lot of the furry websites were all blocked by the school filter. And so I didn't really
Oh.
know about the fandom as a whole. I knew about a couple of furries up in Canada. I'd heard of Camp Feral, but it was in Canada, and I thought that was the only one. I was like, I want to go to Canada one day. It's so much better up there. So I get to college, and
Yeah.
I finally, like towards the end of my college years, I found out about the Northwest Arkansas Regional Furry Group, but I was too shy to go actually hang out with them, and so I just kind of lurked on their Yahoo board. Back then, we used Yahoo, right? Wait,
The old school
Mhm.
old
Old school
school
stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yahoo message boards, and I never actually went. This was back when Two was there, and Jacoby, and
Oh.
this
Mhm.
was way back, and I never went to hang out with them because I was too scared. I was scared I would like become something that I wouldn't recognize and not realizing I was running from who I am. And if I would go back in time, that's one thing I would tell my former self: Hey, don't run from who you are. Just jump in. There's a reason why this became your path, And the more you run, just the more time you're going to waste. So anyway, I leave college and I decide to jump in, create a live journal page and all that, and I lurk and I go to a furry con, and I had no clue what was going on there. I thought I was doing real good, right? The La Tigre shirt that I had on, they had La Costa with the crocodiles.
Yeah,
So I had
yeah.
La Tigre. I had like 50 of these shirts, and so I wore one. I'm thinking I'm all furry. I'm like, I walk in right in the middle of the fursuit parade at Method Fur Meet. And it was 2005. Right in the middle of the fursuit parade, I was like, oh my goodness, well, I am over my head. Ouch. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and I guess the rest is kind of history. But definitely, when you know you're home, and it's a point where you just find yourself. Really, we don't become furries as much as we discover ourselves as
Right.
furries.
Hmm.
It was always inside of us, and I think it's inside of most, if not all people. Maybe not all, but most. I mean, it's just a matter of finding and embracing that,
Yeah.
and finding others that are like-minded, that you can have a community with.
Definitely. So I've said this many times, off and on the pod here, that when we had Uncle Kage on the show, he had a great phrase, and you'll have to remember barely exactly how it goes because it's like the best, most wonderful, perfect thing that sums it all up. What you just said.
What Uncle Kage said was, the furry fandom is the fandom we didn't know we needed until we found it.
I like that.
And that
Yeah,
was perfect. It was
And
perfect.
and that's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, so definitely. So you are a piano fur and a rappy fur. How long have you been these things, and what brought you to these magical arts?
Well, I mean, I've been doing piano like since I was 8, 9 years old. I forgot exactly when I started, but as far as I was writing poems and raps, and I was,
Hmm,
10, 11, 12. I forget when I started, but really, as far as the furry aspect of it, it was again really just a part of embracing who I am and expressing myself. I never really had an audience, really a subject matter that really spoke to something deep inside that I could, really explore who I am as much as when I found the furry fandom and started doing stuff there. And it's kind of like an awakening, It's just crazy. They say that genes don't lie. Who you are is a fact. And if that's who you are, you can't not be that. And, it's just writing songs about, my experience and, finding out who I am. But really, it kind of just all merged together. Really, when I went to my go back to MFM 2005, and I saw Sub Level 3 perform this concert. And I'd never heard of this band. I'd never heard of anyone in the fandom. It's my first con, but there's something about their music really just further awaken. It's like your sleep, and you
hmm.
got alarm clocks going off. That's kind of how the process was between that and Conifer Northwest that year, and Oklahoma that year, and meeting the other furs in the Little Rock area and forming Central Arkansas Furs with them. It's like different alarm clocks just waking up, and by the end of 2005 I was fully awake. It's crazy, and
Awesome.
that's led to so many awesome things in my life. Just being confident in who you are, not having to worry about inhibition, because you know that there are other people, like you're not alone in this world. That's huge. A lot of blessings has happened. A lot of it's providence. A lot of it is faith realized, and I'm thankful for that. I do think a lot of it comes back to being a furry and being embraced in the fandom, and having the self confidence that comes with that.
Of course, as we all say all the time, and it's true, we're all like one big family, and I've always said the furry fandom is we're the most accepting and supportive community that is out there. So definitely. And you mentioned, just to go back, because you started talking about, just really briefly, you talked about when you were 11 or 12 or something, you started writing your own raps and stuff. That made me think about your song "Rolling Up Coins." So could you tell me a little bit about what is that about, and where did that come from?
Well, Rolling Up Coins was really about just, being broke. I was writing a song, and in fact, I guess you could kind of base it off of a song by Eminem that he did. It was a Sing for the Moment, which was in kind of Aerosmith.
Ah,
Um,
yep,
and it's kind of the same beat, but really is, I took that and I just started writing about being broke. At the time, I was fresh out of college, didn't really have a lot, in a fandom where, a lot of us are young, just starting out, don't have a whole lot of financial assets at the time. And so just writing about that, trying to scrape together a music studio and,
yep.
make a song using, whatever technology I had at the time. And I thought that was relating it. And when you get a few dimes, you save it and you go to a furry con, it's like,
Yeah.
do you
Where else are you going to go?
exactly, do you bust your tail at work more, or do you take those vacation days and go hang out with your friends? So it's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go hang out with my friends. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. So spend your time like it's your time. And that's something whenever I would do a live stream or a concert in fursuit, or if I'm a rap concert, especially, I would always close with that song because that's very important that we remember to spend our time like it's our time, because we don't get a second chance. There's reincarnation. That there's some faiths, but I mean, even in the second avatar down the road, that's still kind of like a brand new chance. But that's another paradigm, and we've got one shot at it here, and we need to make the most of it.
Yeah, and of course, I can't help but, as you're talking about that, I can't help but think about when we did rolling up coins at Furlandia last year. I loved playing it with you. It was so great.
Uh, it was awesome.
And it was, and I
Never
remember
had it
you
with live
saying,
drums. Oh my goodness. Ah,
it turned out good. It turned out to sound actually really good. They did a good job miking it and everything. And I remember it was in your show, and we were talking about, okay, what should we end with? What do you taught? And you're like, it's got to be the rolling of coins. That's what I end with. It's like, okay, I guess I can learn it, and somehow I learned it, and I think it turned out great. But
oh, great.
so you have several albums out. So what got you into the recording? Like, how long ago did you start getting into the recording? And what time of fun music can we hear on your recordings?
So I started, releasing albums back in 2005, which is, when I first started on the first album. It came out in 2007, and the first 100, I took the Memorex CDs that you buy at Best Buy in like an inkjet printer, and I would
Oh.
print the labels, and it took 2 weeks to make 100 of them, and they were getting stuck in people's cars. Fur
Oh
would like
no.
he bought a CD and it got stuck in his car, and he had to sell his car. And whoever bought the car, they just ended up playing
See?
this furry hip hop.
Nice,
They were stuck.
nice.
They couldn't get out. And so those 100, it took a year, and I finally sold all 100 of them. And I thought, I can't do this again.
It's a lot of work. That's a lot.
Went through like 8 ink cartridges trying to. And so Matthew Ebel, a great friend of mine, he hooked me up with a company called Kunaki, and so I uploaded the albums to Kunaki, and they duplicate all the CDs, and I've been using them ever since. And thank goodness, because it would be a lot of ink. I would keep Epson in business single handedly. But yeah, 2007 was my first album, and then I've done 3 hip hop albums. For original furry music, there is a lot of bass. It's a lot of really slick beats, and furry lyrics that not just furries can relate to, but also people may be interested in the fandom. Open-minded people of all stripes can
Mhm.
relate to. There's some good stuff about, if you're in the nerdcore, about how furries run the internet, because we do. Um, and there's also stuff about my childhood and growing up. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And then I have 3 albums currently released that are instrumental piano. And so back in 2009, I wanted to do something with piano because I hadn't. And I thought, well, what if I did a instrumental piano album? And so I snuck into the local university and used their music rooms and just started recording stuff on piano. And about 3 weeks of that, and luckily I didn't get caught and sued. But that
Not
that
in
was
gigging.
triggering. I know, right? And so that was my first piano album, and I've done 2 more of those, and I've got a fourth piano album that I haven't been able to release because of legal contractual reasons. That I'm waiting basically to run out the clock, and it should be coming out soon though. My latest piano album, which officially released at Fairlandia, yeah, but it's not online yet because of the contractual stuff.
From my ears to yours. That's the one.
From my ears to yours, yeah.
Yeah,
So that'll
I'm
be my
looking at
next
it
album.
right now. Actually, you actually signed it. I think I was the first one that got signatures in it. You've got a bunch of
You were.
writings in it, and it's exciting. And you said I'm awesome in there, which is amazing of you to say that. So thank you for that.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, it's all about the truth.
Yeah, truth. And it's got a lot of good stuff on there. Lots of covers, which are awesome. I think a lot of furs will be excited to hear. And also, two of the songs that we did in opening ceremonies at Furlandia. So that
Oh
was
yeah.
actually really cool to see. For all you furs out there, that you should be looking to his next album here, because it's got some really good stuff on there. These days, what is your favorite genre or type of music to play and or sing to?
Well, I mean, lately TikTok's taken over everything. I mean, everything's like 15-second sound bites.
Yeah, right.
Whoever can come up with a big TikTok hit, they kind of take over. With whatever WAP stands for.
I don't even know.
Wild Anthro Party. So let's go with that.
I like it. Let's go with that. So, yeah, FurCon all the way, WAP. You got it. You heard it here first.
Yeah. And so a lot of Kendrick Lamar has definitely been in my rotation quite a bit. Also, surprisingly, a lot of rap out of the UK. There's kind of a comic rapper, Michael DePa. He did a really cool song, I thought, with some onomatopoeia. It's called "Man's Not Hot," and that song is just so catchy. But there's stuff like that. Also, lately I've been trying to keep up with current events and make sure that I'm have the latest information on happenings that I won't mention by name, but been a lot of that lately. And so be nice when we can enjoy music and not have to worry about all the ills of the world. I mean, there'll be ills of the world, but it's just like all consuming. I have my hair, the facial hair, is because I haven't had a haircut since like January.
On the music front, you've been in a furry music video, an FMV. You were on Duke's
Woo!
Finally Found You. I remember that. I
Oh
saw
yeah.
that. And that was great. I loved it. So tell us, how did you get involved in that, and what was that story?
I felt like a rock star. So, wow. So Duke was doing a video for First Mate, and he was doing it at AC, and he was looking. It's basically the cover of the "Finally Found You" by Enrique Iglesias featuring Sammy, and he did someone to play the part of Sammy,
Oh,
and it's like he needs a rapper. And can they rap in fursuit? Can they dance? I can check maybe two of those three boxes. The dancing part, but Duke is a great choreographer, and he made the process really easy for all of us that was participating in the video. And I'd never been part of something like that before, and that's an experience I'll never forget. And Duke's just amazing. That's kind of how it came about. Just he mentioned he needed a rapper, and I said, "Oh, I guess I can try it." And so he sent me the details, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to try this." One thing led to another, and
were you already going to AC, or did he know you were going to be there?
yeah, I was gonna be at Anthrocon. I had a bunch of friends, of course, that I love to hang out with there, and I had a show that I was doing
Oh, okay.
later on in the weekend. But it really just from a, I guess, casting, if you want to call it casting, it just happened to work out, and I guess the voice worked with what Duke was looking for, and like I said, I'm just thankful that be able to do that because that's totally new experience for me with dancing and being in a music video
Yeah.
and that I didn't like produce with a tripod somewhere on the
Yeah,
Arkansas
right.
riverbanks.
Yeah.
It was really exciting.
Yeah, yeah, Duke's really great. I love him. I've been, he's one of my originals that I've watched and stuff. So yeah, no, he's great, and I was excited to see. Oh wait, that's Bucktown on his video. That's great. Speaking of cons, your first con was in 2005. How many do you typically, like pre-COVID? How many would you typically go to, and what were they?
Well, lately I haven't been able to get to too many because first life and different jobs and demands, your family stuff. But I think my record for one year is 12 conventions
Oh
and a
my
Christmas
cow!
party. Yeah, that was in 2010, I believe. I went to 12 and the Christmas party. So I guess 13. Yeah, those are fun times to say the
Yeah,
least. And yeah, but I've been, I would say I try to get to Furry Fiesta every year in Dallas. I was gracious to be part of their first year there. They reached out and that was a blast. And I thought the first year of Furry Fiesta was like, they've been there 10 years. Like they really did their homework and it's a great event. And I go every year that I can. I couldn't go this year because I was running the marathon with my siblings and my wife and I didn't go in 2016 for reasons that I still don't discuss. I didn't go to any cons in 2016, and I didn't go to any cons in 2020 because thanks
Oh,
COVID.
good. Yeah, thanks.
But Furry
uh,
Fiesta was gonna be like I guess they're the biggest in the world for this year.
U.S. cons, they're the biggest for this year so far. And I remember we talked about like doing a big show, because we did. So for any of the listeners out there at Furlandia this last year, 2019, me and Bucktown did a few shows. We did not a few shows, a few songs. We did some songs at the opening ceremonies. And then I was blessed and honored so much that he let me be in his show. So we did a few songs there. Smells Like Teen Spirit and Rolling
Yes.
Up Coins. Lots of fun, good stuff. So just, I guess, plug for us. If you go to my YouTube, and I don't know, probably Bugtown's YouTube too, you can see those videos on there. I'll admit, I actually go back and look at those periodic. I had so much fun with those, and I think we did so well together, and I just love how it turned out.
That was my last con I was able to go to, actually.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's definitely fun memories, and it'll always be fun. Because I've never performed with an actual drummer, fursuit, out of fursuit, but you just do it so amazing. And the fact that you can do that in suit, piano, I'm just standing there. I'm just, like the keys or most of them. You're like using foot pedals and cymbals and stairs. I am impressed and in awe at you.
So for all our listeners, in case you didn't know, this is the sweetest Tiggy right here. Let's just say.
Oh.
But yeah, I think I started to say, meow, bark, bark, bark. Exactly. Yeah, I think I started to say we were talking about trying to do a show, just the both of us, like a full hour show at TFF this year. We had a lot of good ideas of songs to do, but that didn't work out. So I'm really hoping in the future we can do that. I think that'd be lots of fun. So what are your favorite cons and or memories?
My favorite memory. So there was 1 year at AC, some friends of mine and I, we were on our way to, I believe, the Fursuit Parade. Yes, and we were stuck in a stairwell. We were trying to get from the Westin over to the convention center, and so we were in the hallway. We were going up the stairs, and it was slow going. And so they just set up it was two of my friends in the Christian First group, really awesome folks. They just set up the piano. They were like holding it, one on each side, and I was just playing the piano while we were walking up the stairs.
Oh,
And the
wow, that takes talent right there. I have some things to ask you that weren't sent to you ahead of this.
impromptu.
Impromptu, yes. So, are you ready? The categories are fur cons, music, or fluffy fluff.
Let's go with Fluffy Fluff for 400.
400 would be it sits.
What is a puppy?
We'll go with that. It's not what I was looking for, but we'll take it. I'll give you 400 fluffs. What I was looking for is, so I came up with these in like 15 minutes. So like there's not going to be unique answer, but so the question was if it fits. Because if it fits, it sits.
Wow.
Okay, so
Let's go with music for 600.
okay, yeah, 600. Okay. Rolling up coins.
What is
Yes, so much. Yeah. And you gave me the biggest flashbacks to Furlandia, and I'm so going to watch that video again tonight. Whew. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So for out that's listening, that was Rolling Up Coins, and that was Bucktown doing that, and he's amazing. The question I had in mind was what I always end my shows with. But that works well too. Yeah. So there's still more. There's still fur cons music, and there's still a fluffy fluff.
Let's go fur cons for 200.
The answer is TFF 2020.
What is the con that I didn't make it to because I was running in a marathon, and it was also the last con before COVID?
Yes. Oh, my question was actually, what was the last US con before COVID? But you just, with the marathon thing, you just like skyrocketed right there. So we still have a fur cons, we have a few in music, and we have a fluffy fluff.
Let's do music for 2.
For 2, okay. The answer is you in an Adele pose.
I heard that you don't know the words to the song we were
Well, that's a true statement right there, I guess. So the question is, what is on the cover of From My Ears to Yours?
Oh, yeah, that is the correct question.
For the listeners, if you end up getting Bucktown's From My Ears to Yours CD, Bucktown's in the Adele post from the Hello, or not the Hello, would be 21 album,
Go with Fluffy Fluff for a
Fluffy Fluff,
thousand.
for 1,000. Oh,
Yes.
you're reaching out, but this will be good. This will be
Ah,
good. The answer is Alaskan Malamute.
what is a really really cute dog that is big and has a curly tail and gets all the snugs?
I totally accept that. I mean, I just had what is the fluffiest dog, but I think you just like totally in encompassed all of that. And actually, I actually looked it up. There's like lots of fluffy dogs, but Alaskan Malamute is like
That's
it's
my
that
mute.
and everything you said. So there you go.
Yeah. It is, I mean,
Okay.
between that and maybe a Samoyed might be up there with it, but
That was yeah, that's up there too. Yeah, very fluff.
yeah.
Okay, so
Uh,
furcons or music?
Furcons.
The answer is AC 2010.
What is the con where Finally Found You was filmed?
Oh, was it? I
Was it
mean,
2010?
I don't. I think you're right. I think actually you're right. I think it was my twin. That's not what I had in mind, but I think you're right. I think we'll totally accept that. I was where I did my Tiger piano medley.
That is what I did in AC 2010. Yeah,
I apparently have done a little bit of stalking on you.
a little bit. Wow,
Apparently, Taebyn knows Bucktown better than Bucktown.
yes.
Well, I mean, admittedly, I had 15 minutes to like Google things, so I was trying to. So the last category is final Jeopardy. The answer is sing for the moment.
Oh, what is my very first YouTube video that I did way back when? These ideas are nightmares to white parents whose worst fear was a child with dyed hair who likes earrings. Like whatever they say has no bearing, who's so scary in a house that allows no swearing to see him walking around with his headphones blaring, alone in his own zone, cold. He don't care, he's a problem child. His brothers and all comes out what he talks about is fucking dad walking now because he hates him so bad that he blocks him out. If he ever saw him again, he can only knock him out. He starts whack. He's mad, so he's talking back, talking black, brainwashed for rock and rap. So yeah, that was like my first ever
Yeah,
fursuit music video on YouTube.
there you go. Yay, you win. Bucktown
Woo!
wins it all. The fluff, you get all the fluff. So yes, for all you first, please check out Bucktown's YouTube and things to find out these wonderful things.
Taven, so maybe there are people in the furry fandom that don't understand why you just did what you did with Bucktown, and
Ah,
maybe give a little backstory as to why you did that with him right now.
well, let me ask it this way. How did you get into trivia, Bucktown?
And I guess I've always loved Jeopardy. It was one of the few things out there when I was a kid that made being smart cool. And so I've always wanted to be on the show. I tried out when I was a teenager for the teen tournament. Really bombed the in-person audition when I rolled my eyes when they didn't call me to answer to give a correct response to a clue. And they stopped the tape. They were recording the audition. They stopped the tape and said, "You cannot roll your eyes. You cannot do that. That's not cool. You cannot." Embarrassed. I was like, "Well, there goes my shot." And so, 19 years later, I finally was able to
Wow.
get a shot to go on, a lifelong dream, and play with Alex Trebek and
Yeah.
play in front of Alex Trebek as the host of the show. We
All right.
rephrase all that really fast, like
You didn't play Legos with Alex Trebek
not
on the.
Legos, tiddlywinks,
Yeah.
but no, it really was a dream come true, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. It was really a top class experience as well. The people that run the show, they made us all feel comfortable. We're all nervous, hoping that we don't embarrass ourselves on TV, and they put us all at ease. It was a lot of fun. I made a lot of new friends from the show,
Yeah.
and I want a
Cool.
little bit of go on some cool trips and do some more stuff. So I'm really grateful for the experience. And I got into trivia just like I figure if you're gonna learn stuff in school or on TV, stuff you pick up, might as well try to remember it and not forget it. And it's been fun learning about the world and the people in it. So I've been doing trivia competitively since age 12, 13.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Wow.
You
Cool.
guys.
How did you do on Jeopardy?
7 wins,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hmm.
In in
yeah,
in um in the champion rounds, right?
yeah.
Oh,
Tournament
wow.
champions was a quarterfinalist. Was actually the alternate for the semifinal. So I didn't quite make the semifinal, but I did really well there. And 7 wins, I'll take them. I'm grateful for each one. And I kind of say it's luck because I could have not gotten any wins. I could have lost the first episode, but I guess it was Providence again.
They
And
could have asked. They could have said the answer was Alaskan Malamute, for example,
I could have.
Yes.
Yeah,
and,
and I
and
would
they
have nailed
didn't.
it.
And then you would nailed it. Right, 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 right. So for any of you furs, just to make sure you know, our very own Bucktown Tiger made it into champion rounds of Jeopardy. Recently that was last year, 2019?
2019, yeah, the tournament
Yep.
was in November,
Yep.
and yeah, the original shows were in May of 2018, and so
Oh, okay, okay. But it
that
came on
there, and
in
then of course
2019.
tournament
Yep.
champion 2019.
And made it through 7 rounds, and like it's so amazing and
Wow.
stuff.
That is amazing.
So what are your thoughts on Ken Jennings?
Ken Jennings is a goat. I'll be honest, I was on Team James during the GOAT tournament, the greatest of all time.
Oh, okay.
Jeopardy
I didn't know
earlier
what
this
that, I'm
year.
glad you said that. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I didn't know what a goat was. I was like, wow, you just called
Okay,
Ken
so you're
Jennings a goat.
Tiger, and
Wow.
then
Ooh.
Ken is a goat now.
Okay.
Ken is
Wow.
the
All right.
GOAT now.
Cool.
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
GOAT. But I was Team James. James Holzhauer won 32 games. He totally changed how Jeopardy's played. He was in our tournament champions as well. And he won going away. Though Emma Betcher really gave him a run. Again, everybody says, "Oh, James lost on purpose." No, he didn't. Emma wiped the floor with me in the quarterfinals, and so
Oh,
Emma's the real deal.
okay.
But James was there, so I was on Team James. Really nice guy. Has a really lovely family. And I was thinking James would take it, but no, Ken really brought it in the tournament, and he's the greatest of all time, is per the title. And now he works for the show. He's a consultant
Oh, he
on
is.
the
Okay.
show. Yes, and who knows? Maybe he's the next host.
I've been a fan of Ken's, like that year when that season, whatever, when he started, and he was on it for however many seasons. Um,
74 wins. Yeah.
yeah, that sounds right.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And I watched like every single episode. I was a big fan of Ken. So, but not as big of a fan as I am of you, Tiggy. Of course not.
Oh, well, thank you.
Your 7 wins are head and shoulders above his 74. Just right
Just,
now.
I mean,
Okay, sure.
They're
you've
just
got all
so
that
much
extra
better
fluff.
wins.
You've got
Yeah.
all that extra fluff to like put you up there. Yeah.
It's all about the Tiger
Um,
Claws, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your biggest accomplishment then? Is that it?
As far as my biggest
And I
accomplishment,
don't mean to say it like, is that it? Like, no,
Is
that
that it?
you
Is
should
that
is that
you
it?
should
That's all you've
edit
done.
that out. I
That's it.
didn't mean to
That's
say
it.
it like
You're it. You're done. You're out. Yeah.
Haven't done anything else. It
No
just
more.
that's it. No more.
Yeah.
No, I say my biggest accomplishment. I don't know if you can call an awesome family, an awesome wife, awesome friends. I don't know if you can call that an accomplishment per
I
se, but
think, yeah, I think so.
I
I
would call
am
it an
really
accomplishment.
blessed and
Absolutely.
fortunate.
Yeah.
There's so many things in life that we take for granted. Just having a roof over your head every day. There are some that don't, and I pray for them. I
Yeah.
really do. I wish I could help everyone. I'm grateful for what we have, and I have a saying: be grateful for everything and take nothing for granted, because we are friends. You guys are out west, and you see people out there that's lost everything in the blink of an eye, and it's really tragic and, and frustrating. We just had the first tropical storm in Arkansas history come through. Some parts of the state had hurricane warnings for the first time, and there are a lot of people that got flooded out from the recent storms, and I'm just grateful that my family's been okay, and my friends have been okay. I guess that'll be my biggest accomplishment. Just I don't, most people wouldn't think of that as an accomplishment, but it is a blessing. But as far as traditional accolades or accomplishments, God, it's kind of hard to beat 7 wins on Jeopardy. But
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I could not do that, definitely. So yeah, well, those are actually really good words. Let's be thankful. Let's pray for everyone. Let's, keep the family together, keep supporting each other, and just be happy, keep reveling in our own successes. I think that's great. So what social media or websites can we find you on if we want to get more info about you and your recordings, find your CDs and things like that?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'm on Twitter as Bucktown Tiger. This is all run together. Also on Telegram, Bucktown Tiger there. I have bucktowntiger.com. I probably haven't updated in like 6 years. I don't know, but it's out there. But there's YouTube. I'm on Bucktown Tiger there as well. All my music is on various streaming apps, iTunes, Spotify. I think we're on Pandora now. Other places online you can get CDs. You should be able to get all my stuff, my originals for sure, and then also the piano covers. I think in the U.S. there's like licensing, copyright stuff. All my stuff's online, and again, From My Ears to Yours will be posted online here in the coming weeks. And
Oh, good. Cool.
I'm just again waiting on the legal contractual stuff to run its course, and I'll be able to. I can't wait. I can't wait. I think
No,
it's
I
my best
can't.
one yet.
Yeah, no, it's really, I feel really, especially now that you say that, I feel really special and honored that I actually have like one of the first copies of that, I
Absolutely,
think. And I'm actually looking at now, I just happen to look at bucktowntiger.com, recognize Paw Studios,
that's
and
right.
it says your latest album, Perfect Pitch, is finally here. So that was a little while ago.
It's a little while ago.
Yeah.
It was
And
like
you have a
5 years.
video of Try Everything, which is actually on, spoiler alert, it's actually on From My Ears to Yours, but I
It
think
is.
you did that a long time ago. So, so barely.
This was a very fun interview, Bucktown. I have to say, we've got quite a few episodes under our belt now, and a few guests. This is one of the more fun ones we've done, I have to say. I mean, everyone's been great, but I don't think I've laughed as much as I
Yeah, no,
have
no, no.
with you guys.
Right. Yeah.
This is insane.
No, this is,
So normally I end the interview with asking you if you have any wise words of wisdom, but you know what? You covered that already.
you really already covered it.
Props. I gotta give you props for everything you've said and done. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So,
I would like to say one more
um,
thing, and thank you so
okay,
much, Barely, again for inviting me here. Taben, you've been, super amazing friend, performer, musician, and all stuff you do online. It's just wonderful. And I love seeing you to
Oh,
grow
thank
and
you.
just be amazing. But I want to say one more, I guess, thing of wisdom is that we all need to vote. And I
mhm.
don't care as much who you vote for as much as I care that you vote. 100 million registered eligible voters, I should say, didn't vote in 2016, which is far more than who voted for either the incumbent, the GOP candidate or the Democrat candidate in that year. When everyone vote, we get a government that represents everybody. Some people vote, we get a government that represents those some people. And so everyone needs to vote. Make your voice heard. The election, in fact, has already started in more than half the country, including my home state of Arkansas. Absentee ballots have already gone out. So it's very important to vote and make your voice heard.
Good
Good
words.
words from
So,
the Tiggy. Well, thank
good
you,
words from the
Bucktown. This
Tiggy.
has been like really amazing to have you here. It's been so great to talk to you once again. I can't wait till in the future we can do it and we can actually hug again, and that will be
I
exciting.
know.
Hmm.
And I would love to. I can't wait to play a show with you or some songs with you again at a con. That would be really great and stuff. So thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're so busy, but thank you for taking your time to be on our show. And we'll talk to you next time.
It
All
was my
right. Talk to you
pleasure.
later.
Thank you so much. See you
Thank
soon.
you. See
All right.
ya.
Peace.
Bark, bark.
I recognize why. Wow.
Oh.
Bucktown Tiger. What a guy. I got to tell
Yeah,
you, that was
no.
incredible.
Yeah, he's great. I remember, I kept talking about Furlandia because it was so great to be there with him. So he's been guest of honor. I think I forgot to ask him about guest of honor, but he's been guest of
You
honor
did.
several times at several different cons. One
Hmm.
of which was Furlandia last year, which happened to be the only con I've been a guest of honor at. So that was great. We were together. It was really fun hanging out with him, playing on stage with him, doing some shows. It was a lot of good. He's a really great guy. It was a lot of good to talk to him again. And he's the friendliest guy. If you see him, if you see the tiger at a con, definitely go up and say hi. I'm sure he'd love to talk.
I have not met him in person, but I hope to someday in the future.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's wrap this up and head on to our next segment.
Our next Sega.
And now it's time for Furries in the News.
Furries in the news.
Every week you add something a little bit different to that.
It's got to be a tiny bit different.
That's a tiny bit
Mix it
different.
up, but just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So the only thing about Furries in the News today is, of course, B-Stars
Beastars.
is having a finale. Their They're done.
Really? They've only had one season, though. And now they're going to, do they have a second season?
I don't know. The author and chief writer for Beastars, Paru Itagaki, he is the guy for Beastars. And apparently, Beastars is something that he did many years ago and just kind of got picked up and animated for Netflix. And they've won several Japanese and non-Japanese awards for
And rightly they
Beastars.
should. I hope for Legoshi. Definitely better be for Legoshi.
I don't know what it's for. But
Okay.
I'll give you a homework assignment. You can look that up and report on Furries the News next week. Find out what report.
I will do that. I'll make sure I do that.
So apparently, Beastars is coming to an end, and the author / artist, I think, Paru Igataki, he's going to go back to his original Beast Complex stories, where Beastars came from, and expand the universe. So it will take place in the same Beastar universe as the series, but it'll take place with other characters. So new characters come into play. And I believe, based on what I was able to find, it's stories, not art. So you have to read with your eyes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like a book.
Like a book. Okay. Okay.
And
I'm glad
hopefully
you
it'll
let me
be
know.
and hopefully it will be in English so we can read these books.
That would be like better. Otherwise, it would be like looking at a picture book, because I don't know what the kanji is.
I don't read Japanese. No, it's a skill that I have not learned ever.
This pup used to know a few kanjis and a few words in Japanese, but not much anymore. I just happened to look it up, and just because I don't want any furs to get unhappy and scared like I just did, there is a second season that's premiering it's scheduled to premiere in January of 2021. It sounds like the second season is it. It's good to know, so I won't be disappointed, but I am really glad to know there's another season coming up.
And this article came from Japan, so Beastars may have already...
Oh, it's probably happened there. Yeah.
It's probably happened there.
That's a good point. That's like, why. Yeah.
That's the problem with the World Wide Web. It's worldwide.
It is. So when they say, "Oh, it's done," you remember that happened just now? Like, no, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it's not for us yet. I did a little bit digging on the con.com we talked about last week, furcons.com or whatever. There is an online one coming up on Halloween.
Oh,
and I know that's a little far in the future, but that's like 2 weeks from this episode drop. So it's called Infernity Online.
Oh yeah, I see. I've seen some chats about that. I don't know much about it, but
I went to their website and they're like, join us on October 31st. It's like, it's free.
So it's a day event.
It's a full day event. Yep.
Okay.
24 hours, actually. 12 to 12 is what they're advertising.
Let's see. That's a Saturday is here. So maybe I'll go on and check it out and pop in every now and then and see what's going on.
The website is online.infernity, infurnity.com.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's move on to our story for today. What story do you have for us, Taebyn?
I have a story, another one recommended to me by, right now, their name is Chili Nutcase, but their ad on Telegram is Cat Prowler. I don't know their Twitter, but I'll give them a shout out. This fur recommended one of the other books I read, not Leave with the Lot, but the other one I read, the one with the sounds, the animal sounds.
The really bad sounds.
They're really bad sounds. And they've recommended asked me to read some other stories on the Pupcast.
Okay.
And tonight's is one of them. And this is called I'm Sticking With You, written by Smriti Prasadam Halls and illustrated by Steve Small. Well, you won't be able to see the illustrations, but now you know.
But you can look it up and read along. If you get a copy, you can read along. Push pause, go to the bookstore, get a copy, and then come back and you can read along with Taebyn.
You can read along with Taebyn and see the pictures. So you've pushed pause, you've run, and you've come back, and you're out of breath now. So here is the story, I'm Sticking With You. This is a story about a big, huge bear and a tiny little squirrel. The bear is talking now, and he's saying, wherever you're going, I'm going to. Whatever you're doing, I'm sticking with you. Whether you're grumpy or silly or mad, through the good times and the bad times, happy or sad, and they've got a little picture of bear and squirrel on a teeter-totter. On the next page, when it says happy or sad, it's got the bear like on the downside of the teeter-totter and no squirrel, and the bear is looking up because he made the squirrel go fly away. Whatever you're thinking, I am all ears. And Bear is pouring some tea for him and Squirrely. I'm ready to listen to all your ideas. Poor Bear breaks the teapot. Now the squirrel is walking away all mad.
Aw.
Ready to be there to help you along, even if sometimes something goes a bit wrong. And the wrong thing that happened is the bear sneezed, and the squirrel was in his little house on a branch on a tree. And now the little squirrely house is all flying away with the squirrel, and so that was a bad thing that happened. Whatever you're doing, that is the plan. You may think that I can't, but I bet you I can, because I will try things that I never would do. Never, that is, until you showed me to. Like peas in a pod, you and I, we fit. Like strawberries and cream, together we are a hit. And for whatever reason, Bear and Squirrely are in a taxi cab, and Chicken is driving the taxi cab, and Chicken doesn't look too happy about it. And Squirrely's not very happy either. I think Squirrely's getting unhappy that Bear is with him everywhere he goes.
Bear's a little clingy.
Bear's a little clingy, that's what's happening. Apparently this is true, because it goes on. Bear says, whatever the game, I'm on your side. No mountain too tall, no river too wide. And Squirrel is running to his little igloo house, and Bear is chasing after him. Now they're in the igloo house, and Bear is taking up the whole space, and he's drinking his tea, and poor little Squirrel is looking unhappy in a little corner, like just wedged between Bear and the corner of his igloo house. So poor Squirrel. We sit by the cliff top. We sit by the lake. We sit by the ice cap. I eat all the cake. And Squirrel interrupts and says, actually, Bear, I think I need to be on my own, if you don't mind. I'm getting a little bit crowded in here. There's barely any room. Bear has this startled look. Really? Are you sure? Well, okay then. And Bear leaves the igloo house, and then Squirrely moves on and says, oh, that feels better. It's thing in its place. All neat and tidy. There's just so much space. He's hanging pictures. He's setting his alarm clock. He's sitting in his chair. I can do what I fancy whenever I wish. Nothing's a squash and nothing's a squish. It's such a nice change to do things alone. Whatever I want to, all on my own. I've got all I need. I don't have to share. Everything's perfect, except I miss Bear. And he's looking at his teacup that is now pasted together, the one that Bear broke earlier. It's all glued together, and Squirrely is holding it, and he's looking sad at it. And so Squirrely runs out of his ice house and runs off and says, actually, hey, Bear, come back. Who am I kidding? Where would I even be without you? Who else would I listen to? And what would I do? Who helps me be the best that I can be? Who shares their very last chocolate with me? Me without you, it just doesn't work. Me without you, I just go berserk. So finally, Squirrel is caught up with Bear, and Bear is sitting hunched away from Squirrel with his little bare arms folded and looking away. And Squirrel says, so like it or lump it, you're stuck with me. For better or worse, that's the way it should be. Whether we lose or whether we win, we'll be together through thick and through thin. Bear's coming around now. He's starting to turn around and talk and look at Squirrely. We'll pick up the pieces. We'll patch the hole. We'll mend things that need fixing. Because that's how we roll. Now they're together. When we're unstuck, we won't fall apart. How could we ever? We're joined at the heart. We'll fit back together like bugs in a rug, like jam in a donut. Like arms and a hug. Now Bearly is walking along, and Squirrely is sitting on Bear's head. Squirrel keeps talking and says, so wherever you're going, I'm going too. Whatever you're going, I'm sticking like glue. And whether you like it or love it or not, we are a team, and I love you a lot. The end.
The end. That was a sweet little story.
That's definitely, when we get to Connigan, that's definitely something I'm going to do a story time with Taebyn.
Shall we move on to everybody's favorite part of the show, our really bad jokes?
Actually, every time I've talked this pupisode, I think it has been a really bad joke. So they've really been getting it this whole time. So if they're still here, thank you so much.
Thank you so
and
much.
we'll just give you more.
Yes.
But of course, the disclaimer is this is from quote unquote joke book that has some really bad jokes that we haven't. There are a few that we haven't figured out what they mean yet.
All right, Taebyn, tell us a joke.
When does 10 plus 10 equal 10?
I don't know. When does 10 plus 10 equal 10?
When you add it wrong. I don't know. I like my guitar little thing that I did better, a lot better than that.
Do you have an aquarium at home?
I do not have an aquarium at home, actually.
I used to have an aquarium at home, and they say that it has a calming effect on your brain due to all the endorphins.
Oh my cow. I got that. Yeah, I got that. Do you know what animal has the smallest appetite?
I don't know.
Well, it actually happens to be a moth because it just eats holes.
Okay. So last summer I was traveling and I stayed in this small hotel chain called the Spanish Inn. I got sick.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got sick. And I called the front desk to ask about local doctors.
Mhm.
And they said they had an actual doctor on staff, which amazed me.
That was very useful and very smart.
I know.
Of them.
I was amazed. He came to my room and he cured my ills.
Just like that.
Just like that. Within a couple hours, I was up and about, and it was just great. And when I checked out, I commented to the desk staff that I was shocked that such a small hotel has a physician on staff. And they responded, yes, no one expects the Spanish Inn physician.
Kiss Monty Python?
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, because no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Yes.
Oh,
Monty Python.
No, okay,
the Spanish Inn physician.
Physician.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, hi. Okay, so I
no one expects the Spanish Inn physician.
I got it even double that time. Okay, that's great. I like it. I like it. Well, you know what's so much worse than that?
What's that?
And I'm assuming it is. As you know, I haven't read these jokes before, but knowing what this book is, I'm assuming it's a lot worse than the Spanish Inn physician.
Yes.
So I would like to know if you know, when is a clock at the head of the stairs the most dangerous?
When?
When it runs down and strikes one. I mean, and for all you furs that didn't get that, maybe you'll get it better if I say when it runs downstairs and strikes one.
Sure.
It's all about emphasis on the right syllable, I think.
Exactly. A panda comes into a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And orders a sandwich.
Well, that's what a panda would do.
Right. And after he's done, he calls the server over. Now, see, I wasn't sexist. I said server. He calls the server over. And when the server gets there to his table, he pulls out a revolver and shoots the server.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
I know, right? And he gets up to leave. And the owner rushes over and says, hey, you can't just leave. And he says, sure I can. I'm a panda. Look it up. And he walks out the door. Well, sure enough, the owner runs over to the cash register and grabs a dictionary because apparently dictionaries are near the cash register.
Yeah, I mean, that's common knowledge, right?
And he looks up panda. And sure enough, it says panda eats, shoots, and leaves.
Kiss. Oh, well, I mean, it's true. There
it
you
eats,
go.
Shoots, and leaves. Yep.
And
yep,
look at it. Did you know what Paul Revere said at the end of his ride?
Whoa.
That's exactly right, actually. That was an amazing guess, and you win the A Million Fluff prize for that.
All right, so that brings us to our final segment of the day, which is trivia.
Because it's replaced to this or that. Because no one's written in and complained about how there's no more to this or that. But it's only been 1 week, I think. So we'll give it more time and see if we get some hate mail about it.
We'll see. I'm spinning the little wheel of fortune, and it's come up to, I think it's science.
Okay, I'll do some science.
Okay, which planet is the smallest in the solar system? Venus, Earth, Mercury, or Mars?
It's got to be Mercury because when you break a thermometer and the mercury is on the ground, they form little things, and then you can catch them with a net because it's a planet.
Planet, but you are correct. It is Mercury. Yes.
Well, see, there you go.
Planet. All right. The climate of northern Siberia is usually described as blank: lunar, mild, Arctic, or tropical.
I've got to go with the logic that I just used because it apparently did well for me. Northern Siberia, I think, has a lot of those little insects called ticks and everything. And then in order to be safe from the weather, they have to go live under an arc. So I'm going to say the Arctic.
You are correct. It is the
Yes.
Arctic.
Okay, see, look at this logic. It's working for this puppy logic. I want to say, did you know that there's a branch of science called fuzzy logic?
There is.
There is, and I think I just did that. I'm a pup and I have furry. So it's more furry logic, but okay, I'll let you continue on.
Right, which is Fur Science, which is coming up next week.
See how it all
It all just
combines and
combines together. I
intertwines?
know, it's wonderful.
I love it. It's great.
Where in the human body is the glenoid fossa of scapula located?
Those are, I want you to say those words again. I bet you can't even say those words again.
Glenoid fossa of scapula located.
Wow, you just won a lot of fluff because you just said it again.
It's in your shoulder. I don't know why I gave you the answer.
You gave me the answer.
Why did I give you the answer?
Why did
I
you
don't
give
know.
me the answer? It's like Jeopardy and Trivia Pursuit combined. It's like you read the questions,
Right?
and you also give the answers. That would be Jeopardy Trivial Pursuit combined.
And which is interesting because today's guest, of course, was Bucktown, and
Bucktown?
you played Jeopardy with him earlier.
I did.
I'm done with trivia for now. That's enough.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's
you gave me the answer, so we're done.
And you know what that brings us to?
What does
The end.
that bring us to? Okay, you already answered it while I was saying it, but say it again.
Yes, this brings
It's
us to
the
the
end.
end.
I'm trying to keep it going, but it's just sorry, we can't.
This
Sorry.
is the end. This is the end. That's a Doors song.
And it's also a REM song. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Oh, don't sing too much. We'll get in trouble with YouTube. So your little parody songs gets us copyright strikes on YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
What? But there's... Okay, that's a little crazy, but okay.
It's a little crazy, but yeah, because we post this on YouTube as well. Every time you do a parody song, I get a copyright strike.
But that might mean I might have to come up with an original Taebyn Pup song.
Yes, an original. That would be so cool.
And if I got ambitious, I could do my own drums to it too. So for any fur that wants a Taebyn original, let us know. If we get a lot of requests, maybe I'll do keyboard too.
I did not know you played keyboard.
Yes, this pup knows some Bach, or used to play some Bach and Gershwin and Journey, or not Journey, but Europe. And
Journey Through Europe.
Journey. Yeah, this is the Journey Through Europe. Made some own songs and stuff. So yeah, used to. It's been a while though.
You know, they dug up Bach just not too long ago.
Oh yeah,
He was sitting there erasing all of his work. He was decomposing.
he was decomposing. You can't get it Bach.
Once you put it out there, you can't get it back. That's just the way it is. Well, Taebyn, I really enjoy doing pod with you. That sounds like it's something that you do in a back alley den. I'm going to go do some pod, man.
You got some fluff for that stuff because I could really use some pod.
So remember, every fur, you can reach out to us through email at bearlyfurcasting@gmail.com. Please send us letters so we can read them on the air. We have a Fur Life online. We have Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, all Bearly Furcasting.
Twitter.
Where else are we at? Fur Affinity.
Wiki for all those.
And you know, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you give us a 5-star review, be sure to join us next week on Bearly Furcasting featuring Taebyn when we
If you're with us, I really hope you come back, but we would totally understand if you
we
don't.
totally understand if you don't.
We still love you.
We love you anyway. And give us a break for a couple of weeks and come back. You might stick around. Who knows?
As I said, that's what the furs were doing. We get listeners, and then they're like, no more, can't do it, so they leave, and then they try it again, and then it's like a wave.
I think it's a lot of the puns. I think they're just like, oh, no, I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anyway.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Taebyn.
Taebyn. Anyway, so next week we welcome Dr. Sharon Roberts from Fur Science.
Yes, that should be a very educational and research-driven talk. I'm excited.
Right.
Wag. She's a very smart, vibrant person. It'll be great to hear what she has to say.
So tune in next week for Dr. Sharon Roberts from Fur Science. All
Bark,
right.
bark.
Well, I'm going to say goodbye. You should say goodbye, Taebyn.
Goodbye, Taebyn.
Bark, bark.
Bark. You took my line. Okay, no, but that works.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
see you first next time.
Bearly Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at bearlyfurcasting.com. All opinions expressed here are those of Taebyn and Bearly, and neither received any commercial compensation for their opinions. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Bearly Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Canes. Opening and closing theme music was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate, Regde, with Damian Tanuki. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, or on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can also help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.